Hello, it's midnight and you're tuning in to Nightline with me, Norzie. Here are the headlines. All economic sectors expected to be fully opened by December, says Prime Minister. And Malaysia in talks to procure Merck's COVID-19 pills. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob said all economic sectors are expected to be fully opened by December. He said this based on the declining numbers of COVID-19 cases, which have allowed many economic and social activities to resume. The Prime Minister said this during a special interview with senior editors recently. Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri also noted that although much of the economy has reopened, many people are still facing difficulties due to the long-term effects of the movement control restrictions. Due to this, Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri said the 2022 budget will focus on those still adversely impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic, as well as the implementation of short-term initiatives that align with the 12th Malaysia Plan, 12 MP. He added that the Finance Ministry will present more details on the upcoming federal budget next week. Make sure to catch the exclusive interview with the Prime Minister, which will be aired Sunday at 9 p.m. on TV3. The Health Ministry has initiated negotiations to procure an antiviral drug produced by Merck & Co., hailed as a breakthrough for COVID-19 treatment. Health Minister Khairi Jamaluddin said in a tweet on Saturday that he has started negotiations to procure the new drug after a study showed the pills can cut deaths and hospitalization rates by half. Khairi said the move is part of the government's initiative to strengthen Malaysia's COVID-19 response as the country moves into the endemic phase. Once it has been approved, the drug would be the first oral antiviral medication for COVID-19, which could halve the chances of dying or being hospitalized for those most at risk of contracting the virus. Khairi also attached a link to an article about the drug from Merck & Co., which claimed that the drug known as molnupiravir is likely to be effective against known variants of the coronavirus, including the dominant highly transmissible Delta. Merck and partner Ridgeback Biotherapeutics were reported saying that they plan to seek US authorization for emergency use of the pill as soon as possible and to make regulatory applications worldwide. In other news, the interstate travel ban is set to be lifted soon as the nation's vaccination rate against COVID-19 is fast approaching the 90% adult population target. Based on the Health Ministry's data on the COVID Now portal, about 3.2% more is required to achieve the adult population vaccination target. In his Twitter post on Saturday, Khairi said that there is about 4% to go until the government lifts the interstate travel ban. However, he added that with great mobility, there will be more gatherings. Therefore, the people are reminded to take responsibility for their actions. Khairi also urged the people to get tested if they develop symptoms and to self-isolate quickly. Previously, Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob said interstate travel would be allowed when 90% of the country's adult population have been fully vaccinated. The date for the reopening of interstate tourism will be decided by the National Security Council, NSC, and announced by Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob at a later date. This is to allow authorities to come up with a more effective control mechanism and standard operating procedures or SOP to curb COVID-19 transmission, as the tourism activities will involve movements between states. Tourism, Arts and Culture Minister Datuk Sri Nancy Shukri on Saturday said the proposed opening of several domestic tourism bubbles on October 1st was deferred, considering more states wish to be included under the initiative. She added that this may result in high interstate movements, which could lead to COVID-19 cases in the country to rise again. Due to this, a more cautious approach by the government is needed. She is, however, optimistic that more tourism destinations can be reopened and interstate travel can resume once 90% of the adult population have been fully vaccinated.
Apabila dibuka untuk Melaka, saya pun risau. How are you going to do SOP? Macam Langkawi senang kita kontrol SOP dari lapangan terbang dan juga dari ferry. Tapi Melaka is very wide. Jadi sebab itu kita akulah dengan keputusan sidang tersebut untuk membuka interstate. Sebab itu mula-mula kita nak buka pada 1 Oktober tu dipindah kepada satu tarikh yang akan insya-Allah akan PM umumkan.
On another matter, Datuk Sri Nancy revealed that Malaysia is also planning and making preparations to welcome back international tourists soon. She said a discussion will be held in the coming weeks with several Southeast Asian and Middle East nations to set up an international tourism bubble involving these countries. Starting Monday, vaccination for adults, including foreigners in the Klang Valley, will only be implemented by appointment at health clinics and district health offices. The COVID-19 Immunisation Task Force, CITF, said individuals who wish to get their COVID-19 vaccine should make an appointment in advance by calling the respective district vaccination operation rooms or via email. In a statement on Saturday, the CITF also said that the move includes those who have missed their second dose appointments. CITF also said all the health clinics and district health offices will operate from Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. As for the COVID-19 vaccination exercise for teenagers aged 12 to 17, CITF said the public can refer to the announcement made by the Health Ministry. For inquiries and further information, the public can contact the nearest health clinic and district health office. The COVID-19 Immunisation Task Force Adolescent, CITFA, has announced that from October 3rd, one parent or guardian can accompany an adolescent through the whole vaccination process. Deputy Health Minister Dr. Norzie Ghazali said this would allow a parent or guardian to witness the vaccination process and to reassure their teenager. In a statement on Saturday, Dr. Norzie said after the vaccine has been injected, the parent or guardian will have to wait outside while the child is monitored before being returned to their care. He also said the accompanying adult will also be allowed to record videos of the vaccination process, adding that the health worker must show a properly filled vaccine syringe to the recipient. Meanwhile, Dr. Norzie said a total of 1,498,274, or 47.6% of teenagers aged 12 to 17 in the country have received at least one dose of the COVID-19 Comirnaty vaccine as of Thursday, while 52,774, or 1.7% of this group, have been fully vaccinated. The 5 states with the highest vaccination rate are the Federal Territory of Labuan at 77.6%, followed by Kedah at 67.1%, Sarawak 62.7%, Perlis at 61.8%, and Melaka 59.4%. The government plans to clarify in due course the recently announced proposal to allow the sale of Bumiputra shares or companies only to Bumiputra consortiums, companies or individuals. Minister in the Prime Minister's Department for Economy, Datuk Sri Mustafa Mohamad, acknowledged that there has been confusion on the matter. He, however, assured that the government is committed to increase Bumiputra share ownership to a higher percentage.
In our view, one of the
Speaking on TV3's Money Matters program on Saturday, Datuk Sri Mustafa explained that Bumiputra share ownership comprised shares owned by Bumiputra individuals as well as Bumiputra mandated institutions, and together they made up about 17.2% of shares owned in 2019.
What we mean is that Bumi mandated institutions, which include, among others, PMB, Tabung Haji, LTAT, and Equinas. Yeah? Bumi mandated institutions, under our proposal, can only sell their shares to other Bumi institutions or Bumi consortium or Bumi individuals. That's a plan. And there's been, I acknowledge there's been a little bit of confusion, and we will have to clarify that. We'll do that in due course.
When asked why Bumiputras were still lagging behind into equity ownership even after 50 years of the National Economic Policy or NEP, Datuk Sri Mustafa said the NEP had been successful firstly in transforming the Bumiputras in the area of education, but the success had not been as big in the economic sector. He cited several reasons that Bumiputra equity ownership had stagnated at about 16 to 17% in the last few years, including the Bumiputras' low incomes, low-paying jobs and low level of technical skills. On Monday, Prime Minister Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob, when tabling the 12 Malaysia Plan in Parliament, said the equity safety net framework was aimed at ensuring sustainable Bumiputra equity ownership. He also said the ownership and disposal of Bumiputra companies would soon be regulated by the relevant ministries and agencies.
We have got to work extremely hard. We have to make sure that we create quality job opportunities. We have to make sure that as many people, as many Malaysians as possible are employed. We have to bring in high quality investments into the country. We have to put in place a number of reforms. We've got to transform the economy. We've got to the number of about 8-9 strategic industries that we are targeting at. One type goes to people who are bedridden, people who are severe disabilities, and that number comes about 500,000 people throughout the country. And last year we spent about 1.8 billion ringgit helping them. So that's a must. As a responsible nation, we have to take care of people who can't work, people who are extremely poor. Bumi presence in 1971 in the commercial sector was very small, very limited. In terms of share ownership, it was only about 2%. The Bumis were mainly in agriculture then, some were in the civil service. But the NEP has been successful in transforming the Bumiputras. Firstly, in the area of education, we must acknowledge that there's been a lot of success. The pandemic has had an impact on poverty. But with the opening of the economy going forward in the next few months, when more and more states go into phase 3 and 4, this will result in an improvement in economic activities. You're already seeing this happening. SMEs are gradually opening up, retail shops are opening up, restaurants are opening up. So our estimate is that next year, our forecast that there will be a further improvement of the Malaysian economy will be better.
After the break, CEO of company linked to incomplete U-Customs project nabbed. Pengerang Member of Parliament, Datuk Seri Azalina Othman Said, has been appointed as Special Advisor to the Prime Minister on Law and Human Rights. It was learned that she received her appointment letter from Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob on Thursday. In a post on her Facebook page on Saturday, Datuk Seri Azalina expressed her gratitude to Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri for the trust given to her and said she will do her best in the new role. She previously was appointed Deputy Dewan Rakyat Speaker but resigned from the post on August 23rd to allow the government and the opposition to reset the Dewan Rakyat. In another development, the Pengerang MP said additional Special Criminal Court on Sexual Crimes Against Children, or JSKK, is necessary to deal with the increase in such cases. Datuk Seri Azalina added in pursuing the matter, a request for a courtesy call on the Chief Justice had been made to discuss and find a solution to the issue. According to Datuk Seri Azalina, who is chairman of the Parliamentary Special Select Committee on Women and Children Affairs and Social Development, increasing the number of JSKK court judges as well as developing capacity and strengthening the cooperation of various agencies to expedite the disposal of cases are also required. She said in a statement on Saturday that the decision was made at the Special Select Committee's third meeting recently. 3 working committees on advocacy and capacity development, protection as well as data also had been formed under the Committee to Address Domestic Violence, or JMKRT. Other decisions include for the Malaysian Human Rights Commission, or Suhakam, to prepare a research paper on the mechanism for the establishment of an independent commission for children. The latest political development in Melaka will not affect the administration of the state government. Chief Minister Datuk Seri Sulaiman Mat Ali said all State Executive Council and Exco members still continue to discharge their duties and the state government is still proceeding as usual despite rumours of a political turmoil brewing in the state.
Jadi yang ini dunia politik, begitulah. Berdesas dan berdesus ini adalah perkara biasa dalam dunia politik ataupun dalam kancah politik. Tapi apapun, selagi saya terus diberi mandat oleh kerajaan yang sedia ada untuk memimpin dan menguruskan negeri Melaka ini, saya akan berjalan seperti biasa. Dan apabila saya diminta turun, saya akan turun.
Datuk Seri Sulaiman also said if Pakatan Harapan PH has the sufficient amount of statutory declarations to prove that they have the numbers to form the next state government, they should seek an audience and present the documents to the Melaka Yang di-Pertuan Negeri Tun Muhammad Ali Muhammad Rostam. On Friday, speculations were rife that the UMNO-led state government was about to collapse after talks that 4 assemblymen in the government bloc would switch camp to the opposition. The current state leadership under Datuk Seri Sulaiman began in March last year after the collapse of the previous PH state administration. The Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission, or MACC, has arrested the Chief Executive Officer of a company linked to the U-Customs System project, which was recently highlighted in the Auditor General's report. MACC Chief Commissioner Datuk Seri Azam Baki confirmed the 56-year-old man was arrested Friday night at MACC's headquarters. The suspect has been remanded for 6 days. The project, which began in 2013, is yet to be completed and was flagged in the Auditor General's report 2019 Series 2. Earlier this week, MACC said it would be investigating the U-Customs project to determine if there was any corruption and abuse of power. Still to come on Nightline, Phuket opens to all vaccinated travellers, including Malaysians. Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte on Saturday announced that he will not run for vice president in 2022 and will retire from politics, potentially paving the way for his daughter to contest the country's highest office.
The overwhelming, sentiment of the Filipino is that I am not qualified, and it would be a violation of the Constitution to circumvent the law, the spirit of the Constitution. And so, in obedience to the will of the people who, after all, placed me in the presidency many years ago, I now say sa mga kababayan ko, sundin ko ang gusto ninyo. And today, I announce my retirement from politics. Salamat po sa inyong lahat.
Duterte, who polls show remains almost as popular as when he was swept to victory in 2016 on a promise to rid the country of drugs, is constitutionally barred from seeking a second term. The authoritarian firebrand declared in August he would contest the vice presidency in the next election, a move critics said was a smokescreen and motivated by his fear that he could face criminal charges after leaving office. Duterte made the surprise announcement at the venue where he was expected to register his candidacy. He did not specify when he would leave politics. The tough-talking leader has not yet announced his preferred successor, but many expect it will be his daughter, Sarah, who has been the front-runner in recent polls. Qataris began voting on Saturday in the Gulf Arab states' first legislative elections for two-thirds of the Advisory Shura Council, in a vote that has stirred domestic debate about electoral inclusion and citizenship. Voters began trickling into polling stations where men and women entered separate sections to elect 30 members of the 45-seat body, while the ruling emir will continue to appoint the remaining 15 members of the council. The council will enjoy legislative authority and approve general state policies and the budget, but has no control over executive bodies, setting defense, security, economic and investment policy for the small but wealthy gas producer, which bans political parties. 18 women are also among 183 candidates hoping to be elected at stations across 30 districts in the country, which has for several years held municipal polls. Fully vaccinated travellers from any country can now book holidays to tourism haven Phuket, and unvaccinated children would be able to travel with their vaccinated parents. The kingdom previously launched a sandbox scheme in July, which allowed fully vaccinated travellers from countries considered low to medium risk to roam free on the popular beach island for a fortnight, and then afterwards travel to the mainland without quarantine. Authorities last week then cut the required stay to a week, in line with national changes to quarantine rules. The Tourism Authority of Thailand later announced that the scheme had been broadened from around 80 countries already eligible. The changes will allow previously excluded Indonesians and Malaysians to travel to Phuket. The Sandbox program has already lured more than 38,000 visitors to the white sands of Phuket and generated $66.67 million. Actions from the J-League Sports is coming up next. Moving on to sports with football, Kawasaki Frontale squeezed out a 1-0 win over FC Tokyo to register their 5th straight win and stay on top of the J-League at the Todoroki Stadium on Saturday. Brazilian Leandro Damião scored the winner in the first half with a glancing header from close range. Frontale are on 81 points after 32 matches, 12 points ahead of the nearest rival, Yokohama F. Marinos. FC Tokyo are in the 9th spot with 46 points. In other match, Consadole Sapporo ended their 2-match losing streak in the best possible fashion on Saturday as they thrashed Gamba Osaka 5-1 at the Suita Stadium. The win was also Consadole's biggest away win in the league this season, matching their biggest win of the J-League campaign so far, where they beat Yokohama FC by the same scoreline on the opening day back in February. It is also Consadole's first win over Gamba in Osaka since November 2017, as they are now on 42 points, behind 10th place Sanfrecce Hiroshima on goal difference. As we wrap up Nightline this time around, let's take a look as lights filled the night sky over Dubai's Expo 2020, the Middle East's first World's Fair, which began on Friday. With that, I'm Norzie. Thank you for watching and stay safe, Malaysia.